All right, gentlemen, to get this set up for your selfie, you have your photos in which you have downloaded from Google Classroom, and hopefully they're on your Google Drive. I'm going to open mine here from my desktop. I put it on the desktop just temporarily. I've got too much stuff going on inside of my Google Drive. Come on, open. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go to desktop and grab my photo. There I am. Double click to open. Okay, our photo is fairly large and it's going to open with the crop tool already loaded. That's sort of its default. It goes to this crop tool over in the left hand side. And we can choose to crop a little bit if you want to, but right now I'm going to kind of leave it the way it is for the moment. What we need to do is we need to simplify your picture down into basic shapes so we can draw shapes, because that's what we've been doing with the previous project, is finding areas that are light and dark to copy. So I'm going to come up here to the filter menu, filter gallery, and the gallery was slowly open. There it is. Now it's going to show it really big. So down here in the lower left hand corner you can see how it has it exploded up to 100%. I'm going to shrink that down so I can see a little bit more of me, and I can kind of move it, I can slide it. This is me with my little wheel here, changing it so I can see it. Now there are some different folders over here of things that we can do. So I'm going to click on the artistic folder, and I'm going down to where it says, near the top middle, it says cutout. Click the cutout. Whoa, that's a difference, isn't it? Okay, so this is the number of levels of values, lights and darks, that are in the picture. And notice that the more I choose, I show up a little bit more. Okay, there's a little bit more detail to me here the more I go in the higher number on levels. Now, simplicity deals with how simple the shapes are. So if you look at one little shape, say my eyebrow on the right hand side or something, we can see how it starts to simplify and simplify and simplify. Now we don't want you so simple we can't recognize you. So sometimes, you know, I wouldn't go any less than or any more than like 6. And if you go further to the left, you're going to get a little bit more detail on you. Look at all the way over to the left there to 0, where I'm not simplifying it at all. So I'm going to pull it into like maybe around 1 here, see what that looks. Let's look at 2. 2's not too bad. 2's still pretty simple. See how it will show you, see this shape here could be drawn, okay? This shape here, where all of that peachy color is, that could be drawn and filled in. This little shape can be drawn, filled in. That eyebrow shape can be filled and drawn in. So we're looking for different areas like that and like that and like that. So we're looking for shapes that we can fill in. Edge fidelity means how smooth the edge is. And really, that doesn't really make that big of a difference. We can kind of smooth things out as we go. We don't have to get into every nook and cranny. Like if I zoom in, I don't have to get every little bump along the way, but maybe you do a smooth curve here and a smooth curve here and another curve there, okay? So we don't have to have every little jumpy curve that happens. When you deal with the fidelity of the edge, it deals with just how smooth or how rough it is, just a little bit. It changes a little bit from here to here, but that really doesn't do as much as these first 2 tools do for us. So I think I'm going to leave mine on 8 because I want the maximum amount of detail so I can find me. And let's see, what does 3 look like? 3 looks like me. 2, 3. It really only changes in the hair. Maybe I'll go to 3. I'll simplify the hair down a little bit more. Okay, so I'll make me a 3. So I click OK. All right, now I have this simple version of me. Now I'm going to save as, and save this as cutout selfie. So you know this is the one that's the cutout one, not the original one that I gave you. So I'm going to cut out, wait, give me my cutout selfie. All right, now I want to make sure this saves as a JPEG. And all we have to do is go to this first little pull down menu because JPEGs are all about Photoshop. Okay, we don't have to go to export or anything. Illustrator doesn't deal with pixels, so we have to export it. Here, JPEG is already in the pull down menu. Okay, I'm saving mine back to my desktop temporarily just because it's easier for me here at home, but for you, save it to your Google Drive so you have it. Okay, so I'm saving, and it's going to ask you what quality do you want to save it. I always save JPEGs at the maximum, at the highest. A JPEG is where we are kind of degrading or disintegrating the image just a little bit. So if we're taking its quality down, we want to have the best of the poorest quality. If we're going to destroy it a little bit, keep it at its best while we're doing it. That's sort of the idea. So I'm clicking OK. All right, I'm going to close out of here, and now I'm going to open up Illustrator. And in here, we need a new document, create new. Let's see how it's going. There we go. And we want to make this one, let's see, this is 9 by 12. So we want the width to be 9 and the height to be 12 inches. Again, make sure it's inches, one artboard, it's vertical. And let's title this last name selfie. Okay, so we already have it set, and we'll go create. And we wait here. Ta-da! There it is. Okay. Don't worry if you don't have a bleed thing around mine. Mine must have been already accidentally set for one. Now I want to do File, Open, and we want to bring in, actually I might be able to do Place. Let's do some placing. To File, Place, and I'm going to come back to my desktop. Silly me, I didn't think about that earlier. Cutout selfie. And let's place this guy. We're going to go bloop. There I am. Okay. I'm really big. Even though my picture in Photoshop was 9 by 12, it was a really big high quality photo. So here's where I'm going to have to hold my Shift key. Holding down Shift so I stay in proportion. I'm going to put it up here and stretch it down. Come on. Here we go. All right, now look how much dead space I have at the top. I think I'm going to move this just a little bit more up, and it won't be, it'll be okay that it's sort of down there. I can make up a little bit more room down there. I'm going to stretch myself a little bit bigger. So I take up a little bit more room. See how I'm doing this? I'm stretching it down. And look, my head's getting closer, look, to the top of the paper. Okay, so I'm putting myself somewhat centered on there. All right, now's where you're going to turn yourself into a template like we did with our previous design. So I'm going to double click here at the end of the word layer 1, but not in the circle. Double click, and I want to click template. And let's just leave it, well, it might dim too much. Let's do 75 again, like we did before. So it dims it just a little bit. You might even want to call this cutout, just so you know what it is. It's the cutout template. All right, so now we have dimmed this, and you're ready to start drawing on the new layer. All right, the new layer, I would suggest, as in the directions here, to zoom in on an eye. Okay, look at that. I'm zooming, zooming, zooming. I'm going to start by drawing, believe it or not, some of the smaller things first. I know in the other lesson we did some bigger things first and build up to the smaller ones. I have found that drawing with the smaller things first on the faces is easier for more students. So I'm going to come in here with my pen tool. Again, I'm making sure I'm on my second layer, and I make sure I have my stroke line. All right, my stroke is set. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to go, ooh, and create some of my little curves here that's happening in the dark pupil of my eye. And again, with this little pen preview, the little rubber band, it kind of shows you about where you're going. All right, now looky there, that's sort of that little dark pupil area. Watch what happens when I flip and switch over here. So here's our swap, whoosh. Now it's filled in, okay? Now, behind that, I have some other things. I have this big shape here. Now I have some more little small black too. So imagine I've already covered that in, and imagine I've already done that. And say we're now ready to go into this big shape right here, okay? I could then swap back. I'm going to change this to sort of a really dark brown color because my eye has a really dark brown in it. It's not quite black. There we go. So I'm going to do this with a really dark brown, and now I'm going to draw behind. Can you see how I went over here to the little draw behind guy? Because I want my shape to be behind this one that I've already done. All right, so I'm going to come up with my pen tool, do my little I went a little high there, didn't I? All right. Notice how there's some exactness, but there's some freedom in some of these because a lot of the curves are very organic. So we can kind of still be a little bit looser, but the pen tool still gives us a lot of accuracy. Now look, I had that big bulge up there. I need to take care of that big bulge. Let's bring that down and let's simmer the handle a bit. And simmer that handle. Okay. Now, watch when I do the flip. Flip. Look, that shape filled in behind the eye. So I'm going to do that the whole time. I really am just going to draw everything behind other things. So I would come in here. My next goal would be to draw some of these small black things here and here, and then see how this big shape is sort of a lighter brown color. And you can look at the original painting or the original cutout photo either on your iPad or have it open in Photoshop, the cutout version, so you can see what some of those colors are. That way you can kind of match some of those peachy tones and earth tones and all a little bit more. But drawing behind is a great way to work. All right, so there you go. Have fun. Carry on.